Hello and welcome to my review of Paranoid Android Beta 6. Now to note, there is a new version of Paranoid Android that is out. I am aware of that, and I have actually tested that just a little bit, and I'll explain to you why I didn't get further details. First and foremost, I apologize for the video quality. I am still in the process of trying to find a camcorder. I did not realize it was as complicated to find a good one for a decent price, because all I'm going to use it for really is for doing these videos. But it's proven to be a challenge to find a decent one. One thing you'll notice here first, this is Paranoid Android Beta 6. It's Android 4.4.2 on an LG D800. But then you're going to look down here and you're going to see that I'm using a kernel from the developer Houghton for the Monday, March 3rd build, which when it came out from it said it was the 4th, and I'll tell you how I did that too, and why I did that. One, Paranoid Android Beta 6 here is loaded with features. This is not your typical Paranoid Android, and I showed you this in the install video. I'll go through it again with you, but it's not your typical Paranoid Android. A lot of features are built in here, a lot of cherry picks, a lot of the developers add a lot of things for us, the users, to be able to really customize this ROM and use it the way we want to use it. The difference with that would be is that Paranoid Android, the team themselves, are moving Paranoid Android closer to AOSP. So it'll be closer to a stock experience, and you'll see that on 4.1. Because of making all these coding changes, it's making some challenges for developers like Houghton to be able to put these extra features in here like Halo, which is something they won't be supporting much longer. They're going to be bringing in a replacement system, and because of that, this will probably be the last build we'll get with Halo in it from Paranoid Android, from Houghton, for the LG G2 D800. Stock kernel, when I installed Beta 6, there were problems with the stock kernel. They were known, they were reported. Bluetooth was preventing the phone from going to sleep. The solution for that was just turn off Bluetooth when you weren't using it. It was an inconvenience, yes, but it was an easy fix. I had a lot of freezes, a lot of crashes with the stock kernel. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on. I did take some logcats. I'm going to send them in. I just haven't done it yet. They're all in my Dropbox ready to go. I'll send the link to the developer when I get a chance. Most noticeably, when it was connected to Bluetooth, whether it was streaming audio or just driving down the road, just connected to the head unit, the phone would become hot, it would freeze, it would lock up. Well, streaming music would become hot. If I wasn't even using it, it would freeze and lock up, and I was trying to make a phone call, and I couldn't even do that, and then the phone rebooted on me. I did take logcats for those. What I'm currently trying that I haven't got a chance to really dive into yet and experiment with is the new kernel from the Paranoid Android 4.1 that was dropped last night. What I did is I did have a backup of this already. I updated it, and then I used that boot image. And I can explain that better. Once you install or update and you create a backup in Twerp, you can actually, when you hit the restore, you can select which partitions you want to restore. All I did was I restored Paranoid Android Beta 6, and then I restored only the boot partition from 4.1, and it worked. No problems here. To note, I am currently using ARP because I was testing it at the time of making this video. Dalvik works fine. We'll talk more about that later. Other kernels, the Furnace kernel seems stable. I still had some lockups and still had some Bluetooth issues as far as the phone slowing down on Bluetooth. Same thing happened with PEG, but PEG did get better battery life, it seemed. And keeping in mind that 6.0 is coming out, there could be even better things to come with that kernel. And the Doctor's kernel, I didn't really keep it long enough to do any battery testing on, but I did do some benchmarks, so I'll show you those later. Going into the phone and the ROM itself, you got this thing here called Connections Manager. I did not test this because I have no problems with my connection. I hold 4G, no problem. I switched to 3G, no problem. Where I'm at is generally LTE, so I haven't had any problems at all with that. That's the gesture control you'll see later. We go down here to sounds. This is some more changes that have been added. Omni-ROM features sound packs. It's in here. I have been testing these little sound packs. I'll show you if you could hear that. Okay, so a little gimmicky, but it's there. It's nice. Play around with it. You can download a whole bunch of them from XDA. I'll keep the links down below for you. Screen recording option and display over here. I did have some problems with screen recorder. I know the developer had it working because he did a screen capture and showed on OmniROM his kernel working without any issues. But I could not get screen recorder to record videos of any length longer than a few seconds. I'm not sure what's going on there with that. Just to show you, I did play around with the bit rate. I took it down, put it up. When I took it down to 1 meg per second, the video quality was horrible, but it did record a good minute. So I've turned it off since then. Going through here, we got more customizations. This is where you're actually going to find most of your goodies. More. And you can see that gesture keeps popping up there. I'm going to have to disable that. While I find it to be a cool feature, I find that I keep activating it accidentally. So we're going to go through more. We're going to be real quick here. If you go up here in the notifications, you're going to have the ability to change the background in your notification drawer, which you've seen I've done here. I've added custom background, changed the transparency. Real convenient, real easy. Lock screen, you can add your lock screen widgets. I'm sorry, you can add your lock screen sliders. You can change your lock screen handle. There's that again. And you can have a custom wallpaper for your lock screen as opposed to the wallpaper for your home screen, which I have done. You probably saw that earlier. We go back. Status bar gives you the ability to do things such as show notification count, adjust the brightness control by sliding across. I use immersive mode, so that wouldn't help me very much. Clock date settings, you can change some of those. Custom carrier label, etc. You can change the color of the clock. Alright, we can keep going through here. You have your animation control. You can play with these. We won't get too deep into those. Driving mode. I did start to test that driving mode, but when I actually started going through these settings, I didn't feel like driving and trying to test this thing, to tell you the truth. Especially not with my daughter and wife in the car. Wake lock blocker. I did look into this online. This is a very useful feature. If I was having wake lock problems, being able to go in here and actually find what's waking up the phone and block it from being able to do so. Very useful feature indeed. But do your research before you start blocking things. Gesture anywhere. This is where this keeps coming up right here. And I have it set up so I can do things like open tap a talk or with my messenger. You don't want to see my messages. Okay. So I'm actually going to turn this off now, but you can see here you can change the trigger height, etc. I'm going to turn it off. I tested it, it works fine, except for the fact that I trigger it accidentally, it works really well. Build prop mods, you're going to get a little warning here. There's all kinds of things you could change in the build prop mod area. You can set your DPI so you don't have to use TextDroider. You can change your Wi-Fi scan interval. Your proximity sensor, I've been testing this and experimenting with this. It is right here. I have it at 200 right now. Basically, when your phone to your ear and you pull it away, the screen turns on. I'm messing with this and adjusting this because I'm having the problem with the locking and unlocking sound when it's at my ear while I'm on the phone. It's quite annoying, so I'm experimenting with that right quick. Let's see. System app remover is just exactly what it sounds like. Color calibration, navigation bar. You can enable and disable it, so if you're using Pi or whatnot, which Pi is not natively included in this build, we'll talk about Pi more later. You can change the height of the navigation bar. As you see, I have done that here. We can crank it up, and there it is to its full height. Turn it down. Pretty easy stuff there. And left-hand mode. As we're going through here, you're going to see, again, I said no Pi. Your lock screen notification section, is going to be in with your security, and you'll see down here lock screen notifications. Here's where you'll find pocket mode and being able to enable and disable lock screen notifications. I do find lock screen notifications to be a lot more useful than active screen or active notifications. Active notifications are not included in this ROM. Pocket mode, there is some controversy on how much power pocket mode uses. I find pocket mode to be convenient because I do carry my phone in my pocket. Pull it out, turns on, I can see if I have a notification. Put it back in my pocket, it turns back off. I have not noticed a significant amount of battery drain from using pocket mode. You can also set your notifications so it hides low priority and hides non-clearables. I don't know what else I can say about active notifications. I'm pretty sure, as far as lock screen notifications, I'm sure you've seen it in other ROMs before. Omni switch, you can kind of see this little, I don't know if you can, it shows on video, but you can kind of see this little area here that I have set up, the trigger area. I brought it down lower. This is another way of accessing your recent applications. Another OmniROM feature, another welcome feature. It's something you could try. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I find it to be useful. It works for me. GPS locks quickly and tracks accurately. I have had no issues with the compass or the GPS in my testing, and I did use it quite a few times over the weekend. Battery life, I'll go ahead and get to my screenshots here for you. Here we are, here's a screenshot, 11 hours, 58 minutes, 36 seconds off the charger, 47%. I'm showing you here that the phone did sleep. So it was awake most of the time. This is probably when I was experimenting with the Bluetooth on. 2 hours and 36 minutes of screen on time. That's not bad. That means we can estimate 5 hours of screen on time at the current rate that I'm using the ROM. If I was still using it the same way. You can see with the graph there, I probably would have been. So let's scroll through here. This is one of those crashes I was telling you about. This was while I was driving. The Bluetooth crashed. And when it did come up, I couldn't even make phone calls. The whole phone had to reboot before it fixed itself. Again, to take a log cat, I will report that. Here's another battery life test. 15 hours, 20 minutes off the charger, 39% remaining. You can see my usage there, and you can see the awake time there. It's awake a good bit, but you can kind of line it up with the screen on time and see it's not terrible. I was definitely using the phone a lot. 2 hours and 22 minutes of screen on time. That's not really that good. Have 39% left. So you could extrapolate, I might get another hour and a half screen on time. So 4 hours of screen on time for this day. As we're going through here, another battery test, 13 hours, 52 minutes off the charger, 67% left. This is a typical day for me. I believe this one was on the Pake kernel. And you'll see here, I had no problems. You can see most of the awaken screen on, it's pretty close. 2 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time. So not a lot of screen on time, but I still left the day at 67%. So that's pretty good. Here's a short test here. This is back on the stock kernel. 6 hours, 53 minutes, 6 hours, 35 minutes, 38 seconds. I don't know why I shut the CPU time. 48 minutes of screen on time. 6 hours, 96%, and that's with 48 minutes of screen on time. This was very good. This was on the new kernel, the 4.1 kernel, and this is just wake locks. This is another test here. Okay, another crash here. This was very random. The clock stopped working. That was yesterday. Benchmarks. Here you go. On stock 8. Oh, so this is on Furnace kernel. This is on Pake. This is on Pake overclocked at 2.4 gigahertz. For some odd reason it dropped down, but the phone was getting hot too. As you can see down here, it's 47 degrees when it finished doing this benchmark here. I guess it's not really that hot though. And I'll show you that was the Pake kernel. Let's see, this is the Doctor's kernel, 9479. When it finished, it was at 42 degrees. And there's your Doctor right there, Doctor 87's kernel. This was interesting. I was just had the screen on, and I was reading Tapatalk, and I was about 15 minutes in, and the phone was getting really hot in my hands, at 59 degrees Celsius, and all I was doing was reading Tapatalk. Now 10 minutes of watching YouTube videos, and I'm at 60 degrees Celsius. So I'm not sure what's going on with the heat issues here, but something's happening under the hood, and it's not very good. This is on ART 12,951. This is on the new kernel 12,951 on the new kernel with ART enabled. Alright. Free RAM 1.26, 1.3. I've even seen as high after a reboot as 1.4 gigs. That's a lot of free RAM. And I know there's going to be those that say free RAM is wasted RAM, and I know that old argument, but there are those who care about free RAM, and that's why I checked that for you, so you know how much RAM you have at your disposal when nothing is going on. I've already showed you the ART versus Dalvik. ART, of course, is going to be faster. I have had no problems running ART today as I've been testing ART. Immersive mode has been a little touch and go. Sometimes I find, and it might just be because the phone continues to crash on me and freeze up, that it's not as responsive when I'm trying to pull down or pull up on the navigation bar or status bar. One thing you'll notice here is that you can double tap on the lock screen to turn the phone off. I have no idea why it turned back on. It's just more of the things that I'm observing here. You can see my notification shade here. I have customized that, and that is again using some of the settings in the more area there. So again, he gives you a lot of customizations in this build. A2DP was a very big disappointment with this ROM. Yet again, my Ford Touch would not work with it, and neither did Kia Uvo. When I say it didn't work, it does stream audio. It does take phone calls when it doesn't crash. However, you do not get metadata to either unit, so you don't get to see your song title or your artist information. And text messaging, even though it prompts you for text messaging support over my Ford Touch, it does not send text messages over. I tried disconnecting, deleting the sync, and then resyncing it, and it still did not send text messages over. I even did it from a fresh boot, deleting and clearing out the, unpairing it, and deleting it from the system, and then repairing it. Still, it prompts you, but will not send text messages. Big disappointment there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Quick reminders about the forums. They are 684 pages currently, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and boot this into recovery and bring up the new version for you, just so I can show you what's going on with Paranoid Android. Little extras for the end of this video. The forum is 684 pages as of doing this video. There is a new version that's out. However, a word of warning, and I've already got this backed up, so I'm just going to restore it. That's where I was talking about the options, and to get the boot image, I just unclicked the cache, the system, and the Dalvik, and or data, and I just did the boot image to get the new kernel. Again, there is a new version, but Paranoid Android is working their way to become more AOSP-like, and in doing so, they're recoding their ROM, they're changing lines everywhere, optimizing it so it can be more like AOSP. The new Pi I'm going to show you reflects that. And because of these changes, again, this is probably the last build you'll get with Halo in it. This is just the goal of Paranoid Android. They've come out and they've said this is what we're trying to do. And, that's what they want. You want a more stock-like experience that you can build off of and add the way you want to add. That's what you're going to get. If you want a hodgepodge that's got some portions of Paranoid Android, it's got some portions of Cyanogen Mod, try Pac-Man. If you want some features from AOKP, try Pac-Man ROM. They have come out with their Kit Kat version. Alright. If you are going to report something, or you are curious about something that may or may not work, when you go to the forums, please search first. With 684 pages, trust me, it is highly likely, unless you're on a brand new build, experiencing a very unusual problem that's probably been reported before. And you can save yourself some face by searching and just checking to make sure nobody else has had that problem. Another thing you can do is go back to... Okay, so it has rebooted, and let me turn the brightness up on this. Okay. Now, to get Pi to work, I'm going to show you the settings here right quick. Settings. You'll see there's nothing really customizable in these settings, aside from what you would normally expect. You got see-through wallpaper, but you don't have lock screen notifications. You can enable widgets, obviously. It says KitKat. Nothing really custom here, except for, of course, your battery. Well, that's Pi. Now, the note, once you've upgraded, you're going to have to come in here, and even if you have immersive mode on, like I do, you have to turn it off and then turn it back on, and then Pi will show up down here at the bottom. The only thing is if you're used to using immersive mode, you'll find yourself doing this all the time, and you'll bring up the home screen as opposed to the Pi controls. So you just kind of get used to it. But really, that's it. That's the only thing extra I found in this ROM is the Pi controls. There is no Halo. I didn't see anywhere where I can... What is this? That was new. Let's try that again. Okay, I don't see anything for that. Let's try here. So I guess I could do it again. Oh. Maybe those are targets. I don't know. Anyways, not a whole lot here. But again, if you want that stock Android and you want Pi, but you don't care about Halo, there you go. This is, and I'll show you right quick. It still says beta here, but it's 4.1. They don't say beta on the site. It's 4.1, 4.4.2 LG D800, and you'll see that's the same kernel I was using the other one. Alright? If there's anything you'd like to see, please comment below. If you found this video useful, hit like. Thanks.